Y'all, can we just take a moment and appreciate this beautiful body of work? Because it's just honestly too good. So let's just take a moment and take it all in together. Now, first things first, let's just start here. Can we just clap it up for this beautiful woman, artist, creative, for giving us such a beautiful body of work to contend with in an era where it feels like we're on a creative race to the bottom, competing to see who can be the least creative the fastest. We have to take moments to appreciate this stellar and timeless talent when it's in our faces like this, guys, because truly, and I want you to hear me, if we don't consume and set a precedent for quality sounds, quality music, and quality art, we will forever be fed junk. But not only that, though, we will never have a new bar to rise to and continue to try and surpass. You see, because culture is only as good as those contributing to it and what we're contributing to it, right? So if we never input anything of substance or of quality or of value within the pot, it'll always be filled with lackluster, mediocre ingredients. Let's just keep it honest. And if you don't believe me, why do you think around the 70s and 80s we had quality hit after quality hit? Because that's what was being put into the cultural zeitgeist, right? That was what the precedent was for that time. Each artist, one after another, felt compelled to raise the bar even higher because that's what was continually put out. Bar raising, quality music and art. So, once more before we jump in, clap it up for B and offer her our thanks for creating bar-raising music and a bar-raising creative project. And let's just hope that we all can follow suit in some way. And when I say we all, meaning artists, creatives, and people who are contributing to the culture in general. Now, for the meat of the discussion, I call this section Black Girl Patriotism. Beyoncé making a country album, waving an American flag on her album cover is exactly, contrary to all the critics, because I've seen your complaints, this is exactly what this country needs right now. And I'm going to tell you why. Like it or not, there is no face of pop culture and culture in general, honestly, larger than and more contributing, that's the key word there, than Beyoncé. So when the largest voice in culture has been hurt by the very genre that she was raised in and that her Black ancestral roots created, because Black people did create country music, let's be clear, it was only right that she leaned into that hurt and used her enormous platform and sphere of influence to both educate and also bring necessary illumination to the very beautiful fact that Black people are the essence of America. Black people and the Black American story is one that is the very archetype and essence of what America is. And before I take it back, I'll add more to it. And I'd even go as far as to say, no one knows the American dream and has a right to patriotism more than an American Black woman. And I'm gonna sit there because I know that that's a lot, so I'll let you take that in. But hear me good though. Considering the plight and experiences of Black people in this country, Black people are the very personification of the liberty and the pursuit of happiness that America stands on, right? Because let me break it down here. America is a nation built on protest and dissent. So thinking of the American story and all the stories interwoven into it, who has been a better representation of those very ideals and their effectiveness? We are also a nation of a gamut full of people coming together to make a beautiful tapestry of people all mixed together to make timeless art and culture that has literally permeated and influences the world. And is that not exactly synonymous with Black people? Black people come in all shades with varying hair textures, all coming together to make a beautiful array of goodness and producing things that penetrate culture and influence trends. And that has been the truth across generations, right? And we've also been transforming every corner of culture since the genesis of America and even prior to that. So Black culture is American culture and pop culture is Black culture. There is no separating of those two things. So when Beyoncé waves her flag, I want her to swing it until she can't swing it anymore, until her arms hurt. You see, we've let the oppression that we've experienced, Black people now, I'm talking specifically to Black people, and then we'll get to the larger body. We've let the oppression we've experienced in this country confuse us into thinking that this land isn't ours, that we ought to disassociate from it altogether. No, baby. No, my loves. This land is ours, and we have every right to be here. History is filled with conquest, slavery, acquisition of land, and masses and masses of people groups being moved from one place to the other for the purposes of colonization and subjugation. But Black Americans, our experience with those things is unique to any other people groups in the world, because we were able to experience a ripping, a raping, and a pillaging like no other of our culture, and still we rose and rise to levels of success and resilience that we have in this country. Do I long for the idea of what it may have been like to not have been ripped away from our ancestral roots in Africa? Of course I do. But since we are here, and this is the home that we know and have always known for generations, this is our home. We have every right to wave our flag, because that's our flag as well. We have every right to let the world know that the culture y'all love so much, yeah, it's ours too. So we created it. Black people created it. So give me my flowers. Give us our flowers. And also, I'm gonna wave that flag as high as any white person, because it's just as much mine as it is theirs. The sheer resilience and ability to rise in the ways that we consistently have, and how among the masses and masses of Black people throughout the world, Black Americans are the wealthiest, despite the horror and the terror that we've been through. That's not by accident. I know we get misconstrued about that, but guys, it's a reason for that. And I'll tell you, it's a sheer reflection of the American ideals, because we got to be honest, the American ideals are stellar, being mixed with the beautiful essence and grit and passion and soul of Black people. Those two things coming together, it was destined, of course, to create pure gold that is Black American culture. And guys, honestly, with this album, I think Beyoncé knows that only in America can she have the ancestral background that she has and the experiences of those same ancestors, which she beautifully outlines in this album, and still be able to rise to the levels of success that she has. So we shouldn't negate that, because that's a critical part of why this album is so powerful, y'all. Even amidst the obvious struggles, because we have to be honest about them, right? Even amidst obvious struggles that we have as a nation, and we have many, again, I'm going to reiterate it once more, we have a lot of them. There's no denying that. But there is a reason people are breaking their necks to get here and literally risking their lives. Shout out to all the people at the border just trying to make a better life for themselves. People are risking their lives to get here, guys. And what I feel Beyoncé is saying in this album, at least what I gather from it, right? Because I'm just a little cultural critic, is that I'm going to wave this flag and take my rightful place in the spaces of country music, in a genre that we know, right, is an archetype of patriotism and American culture. Because what is more American than a woman who came from humble beginnings with entrepreneurial parents, shout out to Beyonce's parents, who worked tirelessly to build an empire and a legacy that will be talked about for generations. And to see their daughter change their whole entire family's plight in just one generation. Uniquely American.
Yeah. Uniquely American, isn't it?
George Bush. Uniquely American. So, and I'm gonna stir up the pot here, but I don't care. Say what you want about capitalism. Say what you want about feckless pursuit of wealth and the ills of glorification of money and acquisition. And I promise you, I can make the best of arguments against all of those things. And I want to be clear, they are necessary conversations to have. I want to be very clear about that. However, those two conversations are totally separate, and they both deserve their own time and attention. Because also, let's keep it real, Black wealth and the rise to wealth as Black people has always had to look different, because our plights are just different, and we're always wrought with a lot of pain and a lot of strife. So y'all gonna hate me after this. I'm sorry. I don't critique a Beyonce or any other Black wealthy person the same way I would other people. And I hear your critiques of her. I really, really do. And I'm not dismissing them. I just don't critique her the same. So call me racist, call me ignorant, call me a tool for rich people, call me whatever you want, honestly. Until you've worked hard for something and risen to a level outside of where you previously were, because that's not an easy thing to do, and you saw yourself rise beyond your current circumstances solely off of your own merit and work ethic, I can't converse with you in a serious way anyway about critiques of her and any other prominent Black figures really, or Black figures of wealth, opulence, and work ethic, because until you've done that, you can't really understand the work, the grit, and the sacrifice it takes to rise to those levels and have the level of respect for it. So nonetheless, the reason this album was necessary for pop culture, let's just kind of bring it back to the center of this video. It was necessary for the pop cultural zeitgeist today because we needed a resurgence of Black American patriotism in this culture. America is made up of a beautiful array of all people, and in an era where so much misinformation, country hatred, dissension among the people groups for foolish reasons, we needed one of our most prominent faces of American pop culture to remind us how we ought to recommune with one another in an effort to strengthen and fortify our nation, not to destroy it. Because like it or not, y'all, I'm about to say something controversial. Stop the presses. This is our country, all of ours. White people, Black people aren't going anywhere. Asian people aren't going anywhere. Natives aren't going anywhere. And so on, and so on, and so on, and so forth. I know it's become such an aesthetic and common theme for us to crap on our country and joke about leaving, or joke about, I've seen it so much, jokes about secession or grabbing the guillotine and killing all the rich people and all of the things. I've seen it all. We're not seceding. No state is seceding from the Union, or all the other foolish things we say about this place. And I want to be clear though, because I don't want to sound too dismissive. I do get those critiques, because only in a country with such freedom and autonomy can you so openly criticize and decry the very nation that you live in. And you know what? Like I said, I'm not mad about the criticisms at all, because every time I hear one, I'm reminded of how dope our country is. So Beyonce partnering up with Dolly Parton, when I saw that track list, I was like, my girl. Beyonce partnering up with Dolly Parton, Miley Cyrus, Post Malone, and even the more underground artists, which shout out to all of them. I think, what's their names? Tanner Dale, Brittany Spencer, Tiara Kennedy, Raina Roberts, and so many other people, right? I know I'm leaving so many out, but those collaborations is such a beautiful personification of exactly what we need to be doing right now in our country. Folks tried to critique her and say she didn't belong, and so much so I even saw some stuff where they summoned Dolly Parton to get her to decry and denounce Beyonce's interest into the country music space. And Dolly said, think again, you tried it. Beyonce, I love it because Beyonce essentially said, you feel like I'm not American enough or country enough to do a country song or country album even? Cool. I appreciate your critique, and I'm happy you're sharing, because you're putting that First Amendment power to good use. But move over, because I'm about to use mine too, and sing melodiously to reflect this country that I also reside in and deeply influence, right? And then the other people on the other side were like, because I saw these critiques too on Twitter and elsewhere, you feel like America is horrible and racist, and I should never try and inhabit a space where racist people rejected me? Cool. I heard that argument. Decent argument. I got you. And she said, I appreciate your critique, and I'm happy that you're sharing it, because you're also putting your First Amendment to good use. But move over, because I'm about to use mine as well and sing melodiously to reflect this country that I also reside in, and I definitely and deeply influence. And to both of you kind critics, I'm speaking way too much for Beyonce, but this is what I'd imagine she's saying. To both of you kind critics on both sides of those perspectives, I'm going to make a body of work that is reflective of the beauty and essence of all that America is. Beyonce critiqued it in this album. She critiqued America. She gave us good love songs, and she called us to more in this beautiful body of work. In Amen, the last song on the album, she references American Requiem. And if you know your history, following the 1992 Los Angeles riots, which was during the same time of the Rodney King trial, right? Dr. James DeMars, I believe his name was commissioned by the Art Renaissance Foundation to write this large memorial work that would contribute to bringing the American community back together, right? And just bringing unity back into the American community, because, you know, it was wrought with a lot of dissension after the Rodney King riots. Understandably so, because that video was horrid. But so Beyonce calling that song out, calling attention to that time, speaks to what she was doing. So if you think I'm wrong about my analysis, go take another listen at this song and then review the track list and the features again and just ponder on it for a moment. Beyonce was essentially saying that it's time to come together, guys. It's time to have an American requiem. What I think she's saying is that your fellow Americans are not your enemy. And even if she isn't, this is what I'm saying. Your fellow Americans are not your enemy, and I do mean all of them, even the ones that don't like me. I can't spend my time focusing on that, because even amidst that, it's just far too many opportunities here in this country that people are risking their lives for to come be a part of. For me to be spending my days consumed and concerned with the hatred and bigotry of ignorant people. So, in homage of this beautiful body of work, I'll leave you with this, the closing lyrics to Amen and the entire album. She says, "Say a prayer for what has been. We'll be the ones to purify our father's sins. American Requiem. The old ideas, yeah, are buried here. Amen." Thank you, Beyonce.